The era of the Windows hegemony is officially under siege by a force Microsoft never saw coming, and Mark Zuckerberg just executed a tactical masterstroke that has sent shockwaves through the headquarters of every major tech giant in the world. For decades, the professional and development world has been tethered to the Microsoft ecosystem, forced to pay the Windows tax while operating within Bill Gates' original vision of proprietary software. But Meta has just dropped a technological bombshell that has left Satya Nadella scrambling and Bill Gates under a social media firestorm. Zuckerberg just announced a strategic pivot that moves the entire Meta internal infrastructure, and more importantly, the Llama AI development framework, exclusively to a custom-hardened Linux kernel. This isn't just about switching operating systems. This is a systemic deconstruction of Microsoft's enterprise dominance. Zuckerberg is open-sourcing the future of the metaverse and artificial intelligence on a platform that Microsoft cannot control or tax. Today we are going to analyze the logistical rupture between Meta and Microsoft, deconstruct the Linux pivot that is making Windows look like an antique software relic, and explain why Bill Gates is being publicly rebuked for his legacy of closed-source bottlenecks. We are mapping the corporate rebellion, so sharpen your analytical focus, and let's unlock the day the Windows monolith cracked. To understand why this is a lethal blow to Microsoft, we first have to deconstruct the hidden dependency that Microsoft has exploited for 30 years. Almost every major corporation functions on Microsoft Azure and Windows Server because of the seamless integration with legacy tools. But artificial intelligence changed the physics of computing. AI models like Llama 3 do not need graphical user interfaces or legacy Office support. They need raw kernel performance and direct hardware access. Zuckerberg realized that by paying licensing fees to Microsoft, he was essentially subsidizing his own competition. The Meta Linux pivot is a declaration of financial independence. By stripping away the Windows layer, Meta has increased its compute efficiency by 22% overnight. In the world of global-scale AI, 22% isn't just a profit margin, it is the winning margin in the race for AGI. The Bill Gates component of this story is crucial. While Gates is no longer the daily CEO of Microsoft, his philosophical architecture still runs the company. Gates built an empire on proprietary locking. He designed a world where you don't own your software, you rent it. Zuckerberg's surprise move is a direct philosophical counterattack. When asked about the shift to open-source Linux, Zuckerberg implicitly criticized the closed garden model of the 1990s. He stated that the future cannot be built on permission-based systems. This released a torrent of criticism against Bill Gates, with Silicon Valley insiders publicly reclaiming the open-source narrative. The logistical reality is that Windows has become too bloated to handle Meta's next-gen neural networks. Zuckerberg didn't just switch platforms, he exposed the inefficiency of the Gates legacy. Let's unleash the technical mechanics of the Meta Linux integration. Meta didn't just install Linux, they engineered a proprietary distribution called Meta Kernel. This OS is optimized for NVIDIA H100 clusters in a way that Windows simply cannot replicate. It removes the telemetry overhead, the legacy driver support, and the background maintenance cycles that clog Microsoft-based systems. This is total infrastructure sovereignty. Zuckerberg is creating a super lean environment where 99.9% of the electricity consumed by his data centers goes directly into AI inference rather than operating system maintenance. This is a technical humiliation for Microsoft's Azure team, who have failed to provide a Linux-equivalent speed within their Windows integrated cloud. Satya Nadella is now facing a massive internal crisis. Microsoft's entire business strategy was based on the assumption that big tech would always need Windows. But if Meta can successfully run a social media empire and the world's most popular open-source AI on independent Linux, why would Amazon, Google, or any large-scale enterprise continue to pay for Windows licenses? The domino effect is terrifying for Microsoft's board of directors. Market analysts are already adjusting their long-term valuations of Microsoft Office and Windows Pro, predicting a steady erosion of the corporate user base. Zuckerberg is leading the exit from the digital plantation. Consider the logistics of the Llama framework. By pivoting to Linux, Zuckerberg has enabled every developer on Earth to run Meta AI on home-built hardware without Microsoft's surveillance. This has infuriated Bill Gates' legacy supporters, who argue that unregulated AI is dangerous. But Zuckerberg's logic is clear. The danger is not in the code, but in the centralization of power. The surprise pivot is a strategic gift to the global developer community. It positions Meta as the champion of freedom, while Microsoft is cast in the role of the restrictive landlord. The public perception shift is absolute, and Bill Gates' reputation as a tech visionary is being dismantled by modern engineers who value performance over proprietary chains. Why did Zuckerberg move now? The unleash points to the hardware scaling bottleneck. Meta is acquiring 600,000 NVIDIA GPUs. If they ran those GPUs on Windows architecture, the licensing costs alone would exceed $5 billion over the product lifecycle. Furthermore, the latency introduced by Microsoft's security protocols would slow down training by weeks. To win against OpenAI and Google, Zuckerberg calculated that he needed to eliminate the Microsoft middleman. The surprise Linux pivot was executed with military precision, just as Microsoft announced its mandatory AI integration for Windows 11. Zuckerberg saw the bloat and chose the lean alternative. The linguistic strategy Zuckerberg is using is also fascinating. He is utilizing terms like infrastructure transparency and computational sovereignty. These are keywords that resonate with high-value talent in Silicon Valley. By promoting Linux, Meta has become the #1 destination for systems engineers who hate the opaque nature of Windows. This is talent warfare. Microsoft is losing its top architects to Meta because engineers want to build on open foundations, not patch legacy bugs in Windows Server. The Linux pivot is the magnetic force drawing the intelligence away from Redmond. Analyze the reaction from Redmond. Internal memos leaked after the Meta announcement show Satya Nadella demanding a new Linux integration layer for Windows that is faster than Meta's. But the technical community is mocking this effort. You can't simulate the speed of a native Linux kernel while running the Windows subsystem on top of it. It's like trying to win a Formula One race while towing a suburban home. Zuckerberg destroyed the illusion that Microsoft could be both a consumer brand and a high-performance AI core. He has forced the industry to pick a side, and the industry is choosing the simplicity of Linux. Bill Gates is under fire because he spent decades lobbying against the GPL license and open-source development, calling it un-American and counterproductive to innovation. Now that the most innovative technology in history, generative AI, is moving to open source, Gates looks historiographically incorrect. Social media platforms are flooded with comparisons between Gates' restrictive philosophy and Zuckerberg's open future. It is a total reversal of public influence. The younger generation of tech workers views Gates as the architect of monopoly, and Zuckerberg as the accidental liberator of the digital infrastructure. Let's look at the economic displacement. The Linux pivot allows Meta to partner directly with chip manufacturers like NVIDIA, AMD, and Intel to write custom drivers. Usually, these manufacturers have to wait for Microsoft to certify a driver for Windows Update. By bypassing this certification loop, Meta can deploy new AI capabilities 4 months faster than Microsoft. In the AI race, 4 months is an eternity. Zuckerberg has created a direct pipeline from the Silicon Foundry to the user interface, eliminating the Microsoft toll booth. Analyze the global impact. Many sovereign governments in Europe and Asia are closely watching the Meta Linux model. They have long been concerned about data sovereignty on Microsoft systems that could be accessed via US government backdoors. By open-sourcing a Linux-based AI stack, Meta is giving these nations a pathway to build their own AI without relying on US-centric proprietary software. This geopolitical pivot undermines Microsoft's ability to export Windows as the standard global operating system. Zuckerberg is decentralizing the digital world order, and Microsoft is the primary victim of this geographic shift. The Satya Nadella strategy of artificial intelligence as a service was a brilliant move to keep users in the Microsoft cloud. But Zuckerberg's surprise was offering artificial intelligence as infrastructure. He is providing the tools for everyone else to build their own clouds. This is the difference between giving a man a fish and giving him the nets and the boat. Microsoft wanted to sell the fish. Meta just gave away the nautical blueprints. The market realization of this shift has caused massive volatility in tech stocks, with enterprise clients questioning their long-term commitment to Microsoft's high-cost ecosystem. Consider the hardware logistics of Meta's virtual reality and Ray-Ban specs. These devices require ultra-low latency embedded software. Windows is completely unusable in an embedded wearable context. By consolidating the entire Meta ecosystem on Linux, from the massive training servers to the AR glasses in your pocket, Zuckerberg has achieved a level of vertical integration that rivals Apple. Microsoft is left having to build drivers for every different device, while Meta simply scales its core kernel. This logistically obliterates Microsoft's hopes of controlling the interface of the future. How does Bill Gates respond? The former CEO has attempted to refocus the conversation on AI safety and bio-threats, but the dev Twitter community has rejected this as deflection. The real issue is control. Gates created a centralized world. Zuckerberg is leading the migration to a decentralized one. The surprise Linux pivot is the final nail in the coffin of the 1990s concept of integrated software suites. The future is modular, open, and Linux-based, and Meta just bought the best seat in that new reality. Analyze the internal cultural shift at Meta. Since the announcement, employee morale among the engineering staff has reached an all-time high. Hacker culture is returning to Facebook. For years, they felt like corporate maintainers. Now they feel like architects. They are optimizing the very foundation of computing. This culture is a weapon that Microsoft cannot match. Microsoft culture is corporate compliance. Meta's new culture is hardcore engineering. Zuckerberg has reignited the spirit of the original internet, and he did it by destroying the Microsoft dependency. Watch the market cap of the cloud giants over the next year. As the Llama ecosystem grows on Linux, you will see a new generation of startups that never buy a single Microsoft license. They will start on Linux, build on Linux, and scale on Linux. The Windows pipeline is leaking, and Zuckerberg is the one who drilled the hole. The bombshell was high-level, efficient, and ruthless. It is a masterclass in corporate sabotage disguised as developer support. Zuckerberg's strategy is a full-spectrum attack. He is attacking the cloud revenue, the operating system monopoly, the AI licensing model, and the developer mindshare. Microsoft is accustomed to battling Google for search or Amazon for cloud. They were not prepared for Meta to reset the entire playing field by abandoning the operating system game altogether. By making the OS irrelevant, Zuckerberg made Microsoft's primary product irrelevant. This is the true definition of destruction in the tech sector. Review the historical patterns. Every 30 years, the foundation of tech shifts, from the mainframe to the PC, from the PC to the mobile web, and now from the mobile web to the localized AI. Microsoft won the PC. Google and Apple won the mobile web. Zuckerberg is determined to win the AI infrastructure era, and he understands that he cannot win while playing on Bill Gates' turf. The Linux pivot is the great geographic migration of the digital age. Meta is leaving the old world of Windows behind and building a new continent in the open-source ocean. Bill Gates and Satya Nadella find themselves under fire because they failed to anticipate the bravery of this pivot. They assumed Zuckerberg would always stay inside the box they built for him. But Zuckerberg just smashed the box and used the pieces as fuel for his next-gen data centers. The surprise wasn't just the technology. It was the cold-blooded efficiency of the migration. Microsoft is now looking at a future where Windows is isolated to corporate accounting offices while the frontier of human progress moves to Linux. Analyze the final logistics. Open source isn't just a charity move. It is a standardization move. By pivoting to Linux, Meta sets the standards for how AI handles memory, how it processes tokens, and how it communicates with GPUs. All of these standards will be Linux native. Microsoft will be forced to adopt Meta's standards to stay compatible. Zuckerberg is now the architect, and Microsoft is the subcontractor. The hierarchy of power has inverted. The world of tech just shifted its axis. The Microsoft-Meta alliance is over. The Linux revolution is underway, and Mark Zuckerberg has obliterated the status quo with a surprise masterstroke. Bill Gates may be under fire, and Satya Nadella may be struggling. But for the rest of the world, the digital future just got a lot more open, a lot more efficient, and a lot more interesting. The day of the Windows monolith is closing, and the era of Meta Linux is just beginning. Stay analytical, stay vigilant, and prepare for a liquid infrastructure that no single company can ever fully own again. The pivot is final. The independence is achieved, and the Windows tax is canceled.